It shocks me just how many four-wheel drives I see these days that are grossly overweight and towing vans that they shouldn't be. It really is an epidemic in Australia right now, and today we're going to show you just how downright dangerous it is to have a vehicle grossly overloaded and above its GVM. And then we are going to show you just what a stunning difference something as simple as a GVM upgrade can make. We are completely and utterly on the bump slopes. Right on the edge of what those tyres can do. Brake. Oh! If every dual cab owner could experience what I've experienced in the last hour, I don't think there would be any four-wheel drives in Australia over GVM. We've taken two 2024 model Ford Rangers and loaded them up with close to 1,000 kilograms of weight in the back to properly simulate what both four-wheel drives are like when they're close to the stock Ranger's GVM, or to show you exactly what happens when you push your four-wheel drive's weight to the legal limit. Righto, now I'm keen to jump in, but before we get started, there's a couple of terms we really need to get to know. That is GVM, GCM, and payload. It's super important that we understand the difference between those three things. First and foremost, GVM. Basically, it means the entire combined weight that is allowed in your vehicle. I'm talking everything. That carton of beer you forgot, the family, water, fuel, absolutely everything. Every bit of weight you're going to put in that vehicle comes together to form your GVM. Okay, GCM, and this is the one most people get wrong. This is the combined legal weight you are allowed to have with your vehicle and the thing you are towing, be that a camper trailer, a tradie trailer, or a caravan. The weight of the caravan and the weight of the vehicle combined is your GCM. And finally, a very simple one, and that is payload. It's the difference between the GVM of your vehicle and how much weight you've actually got in the vehicle. So let's say you've got a GVM of 3.5 tonne, your vehicle weighs 3 tonne. You've got a payload of 500 kilos to play with. In my humble opinion, you want to get a decent payload. Rightio, as we see it, there is a bit of an epidemic these days with people getting around in four-wheel drives that are over GVM, overweight. You're probably thinking, well, that's not me. I know exactly what my four-wheel drive weighs. I know exactly where I am. I'm totally legal. Are you? What we're dealing with right here, folks, is an absolutely 100% stock standard Ranger. How many of you are driving around the tracks at the moment in a 100% stock four-wheel drive as it came off the factory floor? None of you? Not one of you? That's right, we all accessorise our four-wheel drives. So let's put this in some real-world context. Let's do some sums and see where we come up. Up the front here, you're not going to be running your four-wheel drive like this, are you? You're going to be putting bull bar, winch, spotlights. What are we looking at there? Maybe 130, 140, maybe 150 kilos? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, 140. Come with me. Up the back here, what about we put fiberglass canopy over the top of this and pretty cheap basic drawer system in the back. You got to chuck some tools in there. I'm going to round that out to being about 200 kilos. Righto, what's next? How about we chuck a 12-volt system in this and a battery? Another 40 kilos at least? Now, we're not going bush without a fridge and a fridge slide, are we? You're not going to take a fridge if you're not putting beers in it. So let's calculate that to be about 35 plus, say, let's say 35 again. There is another 70. You're keeping count in your head? We're slowly going up, aren't we? Rightio, we're going to put a full tank of fuel in this bad boy right now. We're going to get a jerry can just because we can, because you never want to run out of fuel, and we're going to need some drinking water. And chuck your best mate in as well, and we are all packed, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's hit the road. All that we need now is me, the driver. Get comfy, and off we go. Unfortunately not. We are over GVM. And that means I can't even drive my dream four-wheel drive. This is what all the weight in these red containers is simulating. A fully loaded four-wheel drive with all our theoretical accessories and supplies in it. Because, as you've just seen, it is so easy to go over GVM just by fully accessorising your four-wheel drive. Fraser Island trip is off. Let's get this stock as a rock vehicle out of here and get a Petter's GVM upgraded Ford Ranger in, and let's check out the huge difference it makes. Okay, 3132. So look, for all intents and purposes, the Petter's GVM upgraded Ranger is exactly the same weight as it stands right now as the stock standard Ranger, with the exact same accessories, hypothetically, fitted to this vehicle as they were to the other one. So we've got bull bar, we've got winch, we've got a drawer system in the back, we've got a fridge full of beers, you've got your best mate in the front, we've got a full tank of fuel, we've got a jerry can, we've got water, and we are hitting Fraser Island when I get into drive. The big difference here is that with the Petters GVM upgraded Ranger, I still have over 600 kilos to play with. I'll say that again. We still have 600 kilos of payload under our GVM to play with. That is a massive difference. Oh, and we are fully legal. Okay, let's add some towing into the mix right now. As we all know, there is a certain amount of ball weight that goes to the back of your vehicle with anything that you tow. This is an exceptionally big caravan, and we are looking on our scales down here at a ball weight of just shy of 350 kilograms. So let's have a think, how does that matter? That 350 kilos has to be subtracted from your GVM on your vehicle. If you've only got a 500 kilo payload to play with, and you just put 350 kilos of ball weight down there, you have now subtracted down to 150 kilos left to play with. That is why it is so important to know the difference between GCM, GVM and payload. Rightio, we've just lowered the old caravan onto the back of the stock standard non-GVM upgraded Ranger. There's something I wanted to show you. Come down here. You'll notice that the rear of the vehicle has not sagged one bit. You're all thinking to yourself, well, that's fantastic. It's exactly what you want. The reason it hasn't sagged is because, folks, we are completely and utterly on the bump stops, and we effectively have no suspension. GVM upgrades, yeah, they're worthwhile. Well, I think that pretty visually represents what's going on here in a vehicle that's got close to its GVM in weight in the vehicle with a spring setup that is just not designed for it. Then throw into the mix a bit of towing and you simply cannot do it. I was kind of looking forward to going for a hot lap, but I think that would just be crazy. We're going to get the van off this one here and we're going to pop it on the GVM upgraded Ranger and we'll show you the difference. There we go. Have a look at that. See that suspension just absorb the downforce or the ball weight from the caravan there, and we still have plenty of suspension to spare, and the vehicle is still setting nice and level. It's not doing one of those down the freeway. With the van on the back, let's very quickly touch on GCM. That is the combined mass of both vehicle and caravan. Let's go through the sums here. Stick with me. I'm going to have to put my maths hat on. The GVM for this right here is 3.8 or thereabouts. We're currently sitting at about 3.2. So we've got a fair bit to play with. However, ball weight on this, 350. If you do the sums there, we are still well within GVM on this vehicle. But this is a 3.5 tonne caravan. Look at the size of it. The GCM of this entire unit combined is just shy of 7 tonne. If you do the math, it means despite the fact that we are still well within GVM, loaded here, with everything we need to go away, we cannot legally tow this caravan because we are well and truly over our GCM. And when you start thinking like that, how many vehicles do you see on the daily or the weekly driving around that are either over their GVM or most certainly over their GCM? Gets you thinking, doesn't it? This is why it's so important to match your van to your vehicle. If you need to tow a big van like this, it's important to know your vehicle weights and avoid towing anything that will exceed your GCM. Plus, it's a good idea to upgrade your suspension and brakes to handle all the extra weight. But if all you have is a dual cab ute, we hope you can see how important it is to avoid towing anything that will exceed your GCM. Look, it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, stock standard ute like this one here, overloaded, is going to handle like a dog on lino, but there are plenty of options for GVM upgrades, which will allow you, obviously, to carry more load, but they legally increase your GVM limit. Take this Ford Ranger, for example, factory floor, it had a GVM limit of 3.2 tonne. With the Petters upgraded GVM, we now have 3.8 tonne, so much more to play with. The first step in knowing whether you need a GVM upgrade is to get your four-wheel drive weighed. While there are plenty of ways you can do that at a local weighbridge or doing a Petters tow and load assessment at one of their stores, a good starting point is the Petters Weight Matrix, which is a simple online form you can fill out that'll give you an indication on the weight of your four-wheel drive and what suspension might suit. We've put the link in the description of this video, or you can Google Petters Weight Matrix to find out more. Also, right here, you can see we've installed the Petters Big Brake Upgrade Kit. This kit replaces your standard front axle brakes with a larger caliper design, slotted brake rotors, and ceramic brake pads. As far as I'm concerned, this is absolutely essential, especially if you're going to be running your vehicle at close to GVM constantly. The ability to stop cannot be underrated. Now, also, it's important that you understand the difference between GCM and GVM. Whilst we've got a 3.8 tonne GVM on this vehicle right now, significantly upgraded, it still only has a GCM of 6.3 tonne. And that is something very important to consider if you're going to be towing. So why is going over your GVM so bad? Well, look, there's two main reasons. The first of which is it's an illegal vehicle. Your insurance is void, your warranty is void, and if in the unlikely event that you have an accident and you're found at fault, let's not even go there. The basics are it's 100% illegal and you do not want anything to happen if you are over GVM. Secondly, it is downright dangerous. Now look folks, we have loaded up both of these vehicles till they are almost at their GVM. We've got a private road here and a test track, and we're going to show you, there'll be no shadow of a doubt when you've seen this, just how dangerous it is to tow or to drive on the road with a car that is over GVM. We've got ourselves a very typical little stretch of gravel road right here. Plenty of bumps, plenty of potholes, plenty of corrugations. It's actually got quite a few very tight, twisty little corners in it too, so couldn't be better for testing these two vehicles. I'm currently in the stock standard Ranger. Nothing done to the suspension whatsoever. In fact, it's as if it's just come out of the factory, bar one very important difference, and that being she fully loaded. We are almost at GVM in this bad boy right now. To be fair, it is a brand new vehicle, so it's not thrashed. Suspension is still pretty good. You get into this stuff though, and by goodness, you can tell there's not much left in this vehicle. I wouldn't want to put anything more in here and tackle these ruts. The bumps, they're harsh. I don't know any other way to describe it. You can see every time the vehicle hits a slight bump or pothole, the rear suspension is maxing out, causing the leafs to hit the bump stops, which of course is leading to a much rougher ride. But it's not just an uncomfortable ride that you need to be careful of, as with a large enough rut or pothole, your chassis could be in danger of bending if hit hard enough. Coming around some of these sharp corners, the body roll feels like an old GQ with a 6-inch lift. I feel like I need to be vigilant when it comes to hitting corrugations or potholes in the stock standard bad boy, just because I know that suspension isn't going to soak things up as well as it should. Look, I could drive this all day, to be fair. It's not horrendous, but it could be so much better. I could put up with it, but I don't have to. All right, I am keen for this. For all intents and purposes, this right here is exactly the same as the stock Ranger, with one important exception. And that is that this vehicle has the Petters GVM upgrade kit in it. Now, instantly, the first thing, when I got into the vehicle, this is gonna sound stupid, but I don't feel like I've got the same weight in this vehicle as I had in the stock vehicle. It doesn't have that hunkered down feeling. It feels straight up, significantly more nimble. It doesn't have a boaty ride feel to it. It just feels like I'm in a vehicle that doesn't have a significant amount of weight in the back. The steering responsiveness, significantly different. There is virtually no body roll. Handles like it's on rails, to be fair. The brakes, oh my goodness. The brakes are so much better. Yeah, I was speaking to one of the engineers earlier on, and they said one of the goals in developing this GVM kit was that they wanted to make it such that when you put the GVM kit on a stock standard vehicle, then added the required amount of weight to take you up to your GVM, the vehicle should feel exactly like it did when it was stock. That is a huge idea, in my humble opinion, to be able to get it to do that. And I'll be the first to say, I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to things like that, but they've done it. This feels, despite being fully loaded, it feels and drives and stops and steers and handles like a stock vehicle. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting thrown around a little bit. Bumps are always going to be bumps. It's not a trophy truck at the end of the day, but can't express enough just how much it feels like the vehicle isn't concerned about those bumps. Whereas the stock standard Ranger, I felt like I had to baby it through because I was going to do some damage if I didn't. I sincerely think that if every dual cab owner could experience what I've experienced in the last hour, so all you need is 1 hour, I don't think there would be any four-wheel drives in Australia over GVM, because everyone would go out and upgrade their suspension with a GVM upgrade kit. All right, these are the days you dream of. Let loose on a racetrack. In all seriousness, going to perform a couple of tests here. The first of which is going to be done in the OEM Ranger. We're talking OEM shocks, we're talking OEM brakes, we're talking OEM GVM. Nothing has been upgraded on this vehicle. The first test I want to do is to see how it handles. Oh, and I ain't going to back down either. Coming into the first corner, oh yeah, I mean, look, that body roll. I mean, you could get used to it, but it just feels to me like it's all over the shop. Like it's, yeah. You're kind of fighting against it. This is a nice little corner. I can take this with a bit of speed. Feels like the door is going to touch the ground on the opposite side. Down into this corner here. Oh, it does it, but it doesn't love it. It feels very boaty. It feels very floaty. And boy, you can feel it. You really can feel it. Now, imagine doing this or something even similar with a caravan on the back. It would exacerbate everything tenfold. Imagine having another between 100 and 350 kilos in the back of this vehicle in these conditions. It wouldn't just drive badly, it'd be downright dangerous. That was good fun. Let's do it all again. This time, run you through it. Headers upgrade on everything that matters. GVM upgrade, suspension upgrade, brakes upgrade. Let's see how it handles with the new, vastly superior suspension. You better be able to carry off the line, up the straight. She's no race car, I'll give you that. Coming into the first right-hander here, into the brakes. Instantly different. You can hold that so much quicker. This one here is probably the sharpest corner. Right on the edge of what those tyres can do. Out of there. Geez, I wish it was timed. Up into this one here. Big old left-hander. Oh, she loves it. Bit hard on the brakes there, that was me. My favourite right-hander. You can really hold on to this one, and you can hold fourth. I couldn't hold third in the OEM vehicle. Oh my goodness, 20 k's faster. Almost too fast. See the difference there? The brakes and the suspension, significant difference. Significant difference. And then into the straight, another lap. We've got to do another lap. The difference, chalk and cheese. It's like a completely different sensation. That could not be a more different experience. And don't forget, we've got the same weight in these vehicles. That is next level. I've been around the course a couple of times now into these hard corners, and that's meant that the brakes have well and truly gotten nice and hot. So we're going to do a controlled brake test over the finish line from 60 to 0 as quick as I can possibly stop. We are on OEM brakes here. It's a reasonably new vehicle, so I expect that the brakes won't be as bad as we're probably thinking, but we are well and truly at GVM on the OEM GVM. Up hard on the brakes, right-hander. Little Ranger's complaining, doesn't like it. Suspension's feeling sloppy. A little bit of brake fade starting to kick in too, because I've been harsh on the brakes. Coming into the straight, we'll get her up to 60. 60 feels slow after that back end of the course. Get her up to 60, and we're going to brake to 0 from 60. Here we go, and brake. Okay. I'm going to put a cone at the front of the vehicle. I'm going to jump in the other vehicle. Let's see how we go. Into this left-hander. These brakes, already I can feel they're a better breed. Same as before. 60 across the finish line, hard brake. See where it pulls us up. That's 60 right there. We're right on 60, and brake. That is a significant difference. Get a load of that, come here. This is obviously where we've stopped there. This, I'm still walking, OEM, brakes. Headers, big brake upgrade over there. The brake fade that I was feeling in the initial runs was nothing on this vehicle right here. There was no brake fade there whatsoever as soon as I came across that finish line. And don't forget, that is 60 k's per hour on both runs. I stopped within 2 car lengths. This one here is stopped within, gee whiz, nearly 4 car lengths. That's the difference between, let's say, hitting a kangaroo or, heaven forbid, hitting a pedestrian. That is why you upgrade your brakes. One more lap. Well, the whole point of today, as much fun as it has been, is to get you folks thinking about GVM upgrades and how much of a difference they actually make in the real world. If you're going to take anything away from today, folks, it is get your four-wheel drive weighed at its touring weight. That means when you've got absolutely everything in it for a trip to Fraser for 7 days. Now, you can get that done at a public weigh bridge, cost you a couple of bucks, some places are even free, or you can take it into one of your authorised Petters stores. Not only can they weigh it for you, but they can give you information and advice on what to do to bring your four-wheel drive up to spec, and most importantly, make it road legal. Folks, in the comments down below, tell us what you drive and what do you reckon your touring weight is. I'd love to hear it. Catch us.